This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, dear friends. I hope you're doing well. Now we are gonna tell about coordination system. Actually, you know that coordination system is nervous system, and in our body, you know that we have internal stability, and in order to maintain this internal stability, we have two types of coordination system. One of these coordination system is normal simple coordination, one another is chemical coordination. And now we are going to tell about this coordination system. Dear friends, firstly, you know that we need to firstly know that we respond to any environmental changings. Okay, so any environmental changing is called stimuli or stimulus. Okay, so in our surrounding, in our environment, if there is any changing in the environment, by using our eyes, by using our ears, by using our skin or any other organ on which there is a receptor, we firstly feel this stimulus, and then we respond to this stimulus. So in order to respond, in order to show a response to the stimulus, we have nervous system. And how do we feel this stimulus? By using our receptors. And what is receptor actually? On our whole body cells, except that cells like hair or like nail, okay, but all of our cells, our internal organs, also in the external organs, we have receptors, and by using these receptors we convert stimulus to the nerve signal. Okay, and it means that we feel any environmental changing by our receptors in our organs, in our internal and external cells, and we analyze in our brain this stimulus, and we decide that is this whether it is dangerous or it is good, it is bad, and then we send message back from our brain to the effector. Effector, for example, it can be muscle, it can be our hand muscle, arm muscle, leg muscle, or any other organs. So we respond by using our effectors. Okay, so we push our hand or pull our hand, or how can I say, we make narrower or smaller our eye pupil. Okay, so by this way we show our response to the environmental changing by our effector. So we can summarize like that. This is our arc, way, route of any stimuli. Firstly, we feel stimuli by our receptor, and then as you see, we coordinate, we analyze this stimuli, and then we send message back to the effector and we show response. So this is actually summary of nervous system. And then firstly we need to know that receptor converts any environmental changing to the nerve signal, and nerve signal is carried by different types of cells in our nervous system. And for example, in different organs we have, in different sensory organs we have different receptors. For example, by using our eye we take light changing, we get or we receive or we understand light changing. By ear, sound changing. Okay, it means that any sound change, and our receptors in our ear converts this changing to the nerve impulse. So and again after that it is carried by our nerve cells. Okay, so ear, tongue, nose, skin, and many other. As you see, for example, in the skin, there is two types of receptors. One is feeling mechanical changing, one another is feeling heat. Okay, so we can feel temperature. Is it cold? Is it hot? Or we can feel, for example, is it sharp or is it smooth or rough? Okay, so by using our skin and receptors in it, we can feel environmental changes. And then, dear friends, we need to know that we have, in general, to sum up, we have two types of nervous system. One is called central nervous system, and one another is called peripheral nervous system. Central, it means that like a capital, okay, like a capital of the country. For example, center is Baku, and other regions are, you know, that Lankaran, Balakan, Shaki, or etc. So there are different regional parts, but these are all these cities are controlled by center. So central nervous system is like that. Brain and spinal cord. You know, spinal cord, it is backbone, and brain is in the skull, in the head. Okay, so we have in central nervous system and in peripheral nervous system, we have different nervous system cells. We can say these are unit of nervous system, and these units are called neurons. Neurons, we can say that they are cells. They are adapted to their function. They carry a nerve impulse like wire carries electricity, as you know. Okay, so we have in our central nervous system and in our peripheral nervous system, we have three types of neurons. One of these is sensory neurons. Okay.
This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, we have three types of neurons. One is called sensory neuron, one is called relay neuron, one is called motor neuron. And sensory neuron, firstly, comes off the receptor. So it's mean that receptor gets any impulse and it gives this impulse to the sensory neuron, and sensory neuron carries this impulse to the central nervous system, spinal cord or brain. And then in our in our central nervous system, we have relay neurons, and these relay neurons analyze the situation, and we determine that this impulse is bad, this stimuli is bad or not. And then after analyzing of the impulse, we determine that what I should do. Okay, and then after analyzing, we send message back to the effectors by using our motor neurons. Okay, so central nervous system is this spinal cord and brain, and peripheral nervous system is motor neurons and sensory neurons. Okay, so these are our peripheral nervous system. And you see in this picture, dear friends, you can see that this is brain and this is spinal cord, and all others are peripheral nervous system nerves. Okay, so dear friends, you can understand that in our all neurons, their function, their actually structure is adapted to their function. So what is their function? As you know, carrying of the impulse. Okay, so they have different structures in their body. One is, for example, as you see in this structure, one is called dendrite. Okay, dendrite. One another is called, we can say this part, dendron, dendrite. Okay, dendron is general name and dendrite is small structure in this part. and this structure is called axon. So dendrite gets, we can say, gets nerve impulse, and it sends impulse by using, how can I say, axon to the effectors. See, also there are yellowish part, we call it myelin sheath. So it insulates axon, and it avoids movement of nerve impulse to the outside. It keeps nerve impulse in the axon. Okay, so by this way, like a wire, as you know, also you can see that in your charger there is wire, and also on this there is insulator. So in same manner we have such structure in our body, in our motor neurons. So from the motor neuron, you can see that from here we get motor neuron. From our spinal cord we get a message, and then we send this message to our effectors. Okay, and in our sensory neurons also we can see that we get nerve impulse from our receptors, from our organs, and then we send this message by our axon, sensory neuron axon, to the central nervous system. Okay, so their structures are different, you can see this. Okay, so now in the next part of this lesson I will explain our sensory organs.